Oh, welcome, welcome, welcome. I saw that, Boogie. Oh my goodness. What a way to start the stream. Anyways, welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome back. We are doing Commander stuff. Why is this? Oh, I see what I did. What did I press? You're not supposed to see that. What? Oh, ooh. I don't remember what button I pressed. Hang on. Let me quickly go here. What is the shortcut key? Oh no. Neck enhancement. How do I turn you back off? Oh shucks. Hold on. let me close the program. Oh, that's funny. I honestly don't remember what my shortcut key was, and it is far too late for me to figure that out, but there's a little sneak peek of one of my toggles that I was not expecting to have show up. How's that look? Okay. The neck is back to normal now. Welcome, 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 welcome. Make sure this is still connected. Yep, that's still connected. Excellent. Anyways, after that little sidetrack, we're back. We're back once again. So welcome back to a Commander deck tech thing, where, as you can see, I talked about it last week or earlier this week that we were going to do my Eldrazi deck. As you can see, it's made a pretty big difference. Of course, as per usual, I'll show you all the little accessories and then I'll explain myself. Let me make sure. Sorry. What a funny way to start the stream. But we'll look at everything real quick. Put that there. All right. So, as you know, we have the Game Genic box. This is just sort of I forget what they call this one, but it's the one where you have the little display card. It's got the little side tray right here, and always recommend it for a Commander deck. It's huge, so that's why I recommend it for Commander, because you got 100 cards. Obviously, we have the hard sleeve. We got the dice, as I showed off in the past. These are just really nice pearlescent dice. If we can ever actually get to see them. There you go. Is this still cracking? Yeah, this is still cracking. There you go. But yeah. And then here are some of the other ones I have. Some of the other stuff that I have as accessories. As you can tell, we have the Secret Lair Precon. Why is the tracking so bad? Oh, that's fine. Whatever. Yeah, this is the spin down life counter that you got from the Angels Precon Secret Lair that they released like roughly a year ago. I don't exactly remember when. Here are my extra copies of what's your name? Sorry. Priscilla. Yeah. These are legit copies. If I pull them out. These aren't proxies or anything. These are just the actual cards. But since I got the Secret Lair, I was able to use my original copies as, you know, the flip side of the card, and they actually look sick like this. This is actually my favorite way to display it. I wish this could just be the front of my deck box, but actually that could be big enough. But imagine just this right in the front. That'd be sick. My goodness, that'd be awesome. But I don't think they're gonna do that anytime soon. And then of course we have the Marie Lodge. The flip legendary land that turns into a black avatar with flying and indestructible 2020. There you go. I believe it's a black creature, right? Token legendary creature avatar. No, it doesn't say it is. Well, either way, it's also metal, as you can see the back of it. It's in a clear sleeve. So that's not the color of the sleeve, that's just the sleeve. There you go. The sleeve is clear, the back of it's metal. And that's basically all the extra accessories that I use for the deck. Now we can actually look at the commander which this is actually the front of the commander, if you didn't know. Let me see, what is this having issues? Let me see. Connect. Wow. Okay, that looks correct. Anyways, here's Avacyn, Archangel Avacyn, from another secret layer. This is a 5 mana legendary angel, flash flying vigilance. Whenever this enters the battlefield, you may creatures you control gain indestructible to the end of turn. When a non-angel creature you control dies, transform this at the beginning of your next upkeep, which it then flips into Avacyn, the Purifier, which of course we know. There you go. Honestly, this is the main reason why, one of the reasons why I switched this over to a color deck. This used to be Kozilek, colorless deck, and then I switched it over to have Avacyn as the commander. I'll explain a little more, but I'll read it first. Flying, whenever this creature transforms into Avacyn Purifier, it deals 3 damage to each other creature and each opponent. So the main reason why I went from Kozilek, the Great Distortion, over to Avacyn is mostly because of one, as we saw earlier, I wanted Bracella in the deck. Originally, one of the girls was my original leader or commander. I believe it was Gisela. No, that's Bruna. I believe it's this one. This was originally the face commander when I first made it. Yeah, Gisela the Broken Blade was originally my face commander. But I quickly learned that the deck kind of devolved into search for the other angel and just do this. Whereas having it be Avacyn and then having the 2 angels in the 99, it made things a little easier on the brain because I didn't have to focus, I didn't have to hard focus on trying to do the melding thing. I could just focus on playing my Eldrazi's. And this just happened to be an extra color. So this is literally it as far as the white color in the deck. Everything else is colorless other than these 3 cards, I believe. We're gonna find out. But yeah, that's the main reason why we added the color white to the deck. And then obviously we have nothing for red. Red is just, the art happened to be really cool. And I was like, all right, I want the deck to still be white, but I want something cool. And this ended up being the choice piece of art that I wanted. And it's like, well, I don't need red for anything. So this is just, just a little extra thing to have. So while it is technically a Boreals deck, and it is technically a mono white deck, it's still primarily a colorless deck, 98% colorless. So with that little explanation out of the way, we can now go into the 99 of the deck and actually see what I've brewed. Because there's been some I think there's been some big changes to the deck. I'm not 100% sure. Let's see. So what are we looking at first? I think it's board wipes first. Yeah. So, disclaimers. This is probably my oldest deck. And it's had the most money pumped into it over the years. It's just kind of what happens when you've played for a few years and you've cultivated, you've weed out all the bad cards, you've sold all the cards that are worth money, kept all the good stuff to yourself, sold all the bad stuff. You kind of just eventually get this stuff. Also, staying on top of prices also kind of gets you to this point after a couple of years. Eventually, you'll be able to get stuff. So either way, let's get started. So this is our first one in the board wipe section. It's Ugin the Dragon, Spirit Dragon. 8 mana Planeswalker. This is by Kellogg's, my favorite artist for Magic, who I would love to see more stuff from, and even given their own set, I guess. I definitely like to see them do a small set in a major Magic thing. But either way, Ugin the Spirit Dragon, +2. This deals 3 damage to any target, -X. Exile each permanent with mana value X or less other than that's 1 or more colors, and then -10. You gain 7 life, draw 7 cards, then put up to 7 permanent cards from your hand onto the battlefield. And then it starts at 7 loyalty. So yeah, there is Ugin. Probably one of the strongest, well, second strongest Ugin out there since release. We actually have a new card that we're gonna look at a little bit later. Calamity of the Titans, 5/6, 6 mana sorcery. As an additional cost to cast a spell, reveal a colorless card from your hand. Exile each creature and planeswalker with mana value less than a reveal card's mana value. So this is extremely easy because we're playing big Eldrazi stuff, so it's essentially just a really good like farewell. Is it? Well, like kind of farewell-ish. Blast Zone. This is kind of like we're tiptoeing sort of what we consider board wipes. It's a colorless deck, so we kind of stretch the definition of some of these categories. So Blast Zone, it's a land, enters the battlefield with a charge counter on it. You can tap it at a colorless. XX, tap this. Put X charge counters on Blast Zone. 3, tap it. Sacrifice this, destroy each non-land permanent with a mana value equal to the number of charge counters on Blast Zone. So it's like target removal, board wipe-ish. If you have a bunch of things that have like 0 cost, then you can basically pay 3 sacrifices, get rid of all the tokens on the field. And then, you know, as you go up in numbers, you know, the more charge counters you put onto this, the tighter the removal becomes. So I do like this. I think it's pretty good. Also, it's mana. If you didn't know, big Eldrazi spells. Actually, I'll talk about the mana curve. So one thing is, knowing that this used to be a Kozilek deck, the mana curve is going to be very out there. So the average mana value of this deck is 5.3. And as you can imagine, it is going from 0 all the way up to like 12 or 13. So it's hitting a wide range of mana cost spells. And what else do we normally look at? So let's see. Oh, that's right. We look at like the salt sum. So the salt score of this deck would be 71. The bracket, of course, is 4. I would argue it could even be higher, but I don't think it is. Mostly because like it's when you go into CDH, you're going into like meta stuff. And this is just below meta stuff. This is just as far as I could push an Eldrazi deck, a colorless deck. I think it's pretty good. I don't think it's the strongest colorless deck out there, but I'm quite happy with it. Also because it's focusing on Eldrazi's. Eldrazi's just tend to be slow. I don't think Eldrazi's could ever break into a meta of relevance. So all it does is our next one, 7 mana, Tribal Sorcery Eldrazi. So each player sacrifices all permanents they control that are 1 or more colors. Another great board wipe. Our next one is target removal, it looks like. I had to guess. Bane of Balaged, 7 cost Eldrazi. This is kind of the first signs of our theme. It's a 7/5. When this attacks, defending player exiles 2 permanents he or she controls. So this is like super annihilator. I like this card a lot. It was I think this was originally a Pathraiser of Ulamog, something like that. It's something else that had like 7 mana but had Annihilator, and I replaced it for this because it had a better version of Annihilator. Ghost Quarters, again, stretching that definition just to have more lands in the deck. Ghost Quarters is a target land removal. So sacrifice this, destroy target land. Its controller may search their library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle their library. Pretty good. It's untapped, taps for colorless, which is what we care about. Karn Liberator. Now, here's the really funny looking one. This is I don't know. I'm not crazy about this art, but I got it because it fits with the other 3 Urza lands that I have, and it makes actually a really nice panorama. Hopefully, I remember to show that at the end of this. But Karn is a 7 mana, 6 loyalty, loyalty. +4. Target player exiles a card from their hand, and then -3. Exile target permanent. -14. Restart the game. Leaving in exile all non-aura permanent cards exiled with Karn Liberator. Then put those cards onto the battlefield under your control. So you reset the game. I never do this one. This is just like feel bad moments. But yeah, exile target permanent or exile a card from a player's hand. So primarily it's mostly this. This is just if you want to get like a plus, so you don't immediately just kill your Karn. Next one, Strip Mines. As you can see, special foil, special art version. Oh, the card is so dark, it doesn't actually want to show. There you go. Yep, you can kind of see it there. But yeah, this is a tap for colorless. Tap this, sacrifice this, destroy target land. No questions asked. Always a keeper. Titan's Presence, 3 mana, instant. As additional cost to cast this, reveal a colorless creature card from your hand. Super easy to do in a colorless deck. Exile target creature if its power is less than or equal to the revealed card's power. Again, you have one of the Titans in your hand and you just get whatever's on the field. It doesn't matter. Wasteland. So he's another great one. Another super aggressive land removal spell. We can never actually get to see it. Come on, there we go. Ta-da! There we go. So taps for colorless, sacrifice it, destroy target non-basic land. So a little more specific, but essentially does the same thing. Next one is our protection suite. If I can make sure I grab the correct ones, I believe that's it. Let me double check. Oh yeah, this guy. This dingus is in here. Oh god. The last card in this pile you're not gonna like, because I don't like it. But I got it because it was a special printing. I might switch it out, we'll see. But the first one though is a card I love. Like holy moly, this is probably the best version of Commander's Plate that exists. We can ever actually get to see it. There you go. It's from that Angel Precon. Actually, how are my nails? Oh, they're a little messy. I should be a little more conscious of that. But yeah, how's your week been? We're gonna take a quick intermission break as I at least clean up the nails that are showing up on camera, just so they don't look so nasty for you guys. Hopefully you had a good week. Currently it's Saturday, but you know, for most people that's not gonna matter too much, whether it's Saturday or Monday or whatever day. But I had to put off recording this a day later or a day earlier because I needed to work on the yard, and that just like kind of zaps the energy out of you. So that's what I did. That's why my nails are so dirty, because I was just working on the yard the day before, and it looks like some of the dirt just didn't leave. Despite my best efforts. But yeah, let's see. This was the first deck I put together, and it's the first deck where it's like I had to learn how to play Magic or Commander. And as you can imagine, that can be a little difficult. But I'm glad I did. I'm glad this was the deck I used to learn Magic from. See, that's a little better now. So Commander's Plate. Is it equip? So it's an equipment. Equipped creature gets a 3/3 and has protection from each color that's not in your commander's color identity. Unfortunately for us, it's going to be 3 of the 5 colors. It used to be all of them. Equip commander is 3, but if you normally equip it, it's 5. But yeah, if I ever switch it back to Kozilek, this is just gets way better. But even for a dual color commander, I think it's still pretty good. Darksteel Forge, classic in artifact decks. 9-drop artifact, and then it gets artifacts you control are indestructible. They can't be destroyed. And then yeah, that's basically it. Super cool card. Eldritch Immunity is our next instance. There we go. I believe it's a protection spell. Oh no. Oh yeah, it is. Okay, gains control. Okay, target creature you control gains protection from each color until the end of turn, and then we can overload it, which basically means we replace each with the word all or every. So we can give our entire board protection from all colors, or give it to a very specific target. So it's pretty nice. Why it is? Wow. Okay. Lightning Greaves. Oh man, one of my favorite art cards from this secret layer. Super sick. Yeah, this was from Danny. Danny did a great job. I hope they bring Danny back into doing this. So Lightning Greaves, 2 mana artifact equipment. Big creature has haste and shroud, equip 0. So primarily this is just a 0 cost, give something haste. Shroud is like, okay, we don't normally target our creatures, but you know, it's mostly just for, you know, the oddball haste enabler. Not of this world. 7 mana instant spell. Really expensive, but you'll learn why pretty soon. So, counter target spell or ability that targets a permanent you control. Pretty good, but not for 7 mana. But it has, this costs 7 less to cast if it targets a spell or ability that okay. This spell costs 7 less to cast if it targets a spell or ability that targets a creature you control with power 7 or greater. There you go. So obviously, most of the stuff we want to protect is power 7 or greater. Like most of our Eldrazi's are big spells that people don't like to see, so it's really nice to have. Here's another one where it's like semi-recent card that got released that I didn't realize was so strong until I read it and was like, oh, maybe I should pay attention to this. So this is Talongate of Mandara. It's a gate. Whenever this enters the battlefield until up to 1 target creature phases out. So ideally, let's see, I always forget how this works. Because I guess if you're casting, if you haven't done your land drop and you're trying to cast something and your opponent tries to like spot remove it, you could play a land in response, which would be this one that phases this out. And then obviously this phases back in. I believe that's how it works. I have yet to draw this and use it, so I'll let you know how it works later on. So tap for colorless, pay 1, tap this, add 1 mana of any color. Don't really need to worry about that. Or you can pay 4. Put this from your hand onto the battlefield. Okay, there you go. So that's how it works on your opponent's field. If your opponent is trying to board wipe you, you keep up 4 mana, you pay 4, and then you bounce this. You put this from your hand to the field. So essentially it's like flash, and then you phase out something you want. Okay, starting to click. Cards, brain is starting to turn on. So next one is Voidwind War, right? It is the ugliest art. Honestly, I am not a fan of this art style. Some of the cards, I think some of the cards from the Secret Lair did work. I think they did, what's it called? What's his name? The Chupacabra one. I honestly don't remember. But I know they did like, what they did one of like the Ice Backs. I can't remember any of the cards from that Secret Lair. But a lot of the other cards from the Secret Lair looked a lot better than this one. This is just like the ugliest Eldrazi I've seen. But at the time, it was the cheapest version of this card to get, and now it's like a little more expensive, but not by a lot. But anyways, let's read it. It's a 9 mana Eldrazi. Your opponent can't cast spells with even mana value. Your opponent can't block with creatures with even mana value. Yeah, there we go. So basically kind of like a, what are they called? Oh, all the words are leaving my brain. Floodgates? No, not a floodgate. Stall. It's like a stall strategy. Gosh, why are the words escaping me today? I feel like my brain just has a leak in it. But we won't worry about that. Let's see. Next one is gonna be our card draw. And then it goes all the way down to here. Make sure I grab the correct stuff. Oh, no, almost. Come on, stupid. There we go. All right. Next one is card draw. As you can see, the piles are getting a lot bigger. I think this is about 15, 17 card draw spells, like card draw. As you can see, the first one's a land. So Bonder's Enclave is a colorless land that if you pay 3, tap it, draw a card, activate the spelling only if you control a creature with power 4 or greater. Not very hard for us. Conduit of Ruin, 6 mana Eldrazi. This is when you cast this, you may search your library for a colorless creature card with converted mana cost 7 or greater, reveal it, then shuffle your library, put that card on top of it. The first creature spell you cast each turn costs 2 less to cast. So this is like ramp. This is tutoring, sort of. So first time tutor, and then a pretty consistent cost reduction. So pretty good to have. You just have to stay on top of it. Here is Endbringer. Endbringer is a 6 mana Eldrazi that has a stamp. I don't think the stamp means very much. Untap this during each other player's untap step. So basically, this always is constantly untapping. You can tap it, deal 1 damage to target creature or player. Pretty fine. Pay 1, tap this. Target creature can't attack or block this turn. Usually what we're doing though is the last ability, which is pay 2 colorless, tap this, draw a card. So primarily we are trying to draw cards with this card. And every upkeep, we get to draw a card, essentially. As long as we keep the mana open. Expedition Map is our land tutor in this deck. So it's a 1 mana artifact. Pay 2, sacrifice this. Search your library for a land card, reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. This is great. I wish I had more. Avacyn, legendary land, colorless. Well, actually, let me show the art first, and then we will continue onwards. There you go. It's really hard to see, so not much to look at. So 7, tap this, search your library for a colorless creature card, reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Colorless Eldrazi spells you cast costs 2 less to cast. So pretty good card, as you can see. Avacyn, great card. Inventor's Fair, another tutor in the deck, artifact tutor, I believe. So at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 3 or more artifacts, you gain 1 life. That's not our major concern. It also taps for colorless. Pay for it, tap this, sacrifice this, search your library for an artifact card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Activate this ability only if you control 3 or more artifacts. So that's primarily what we're trying to do here. It's a 4 mana searcher. Well, 1-time 4 mana searcher. In a land. Always welcome. Mana Reshaper, 3 mana artifact creature, or Eldrazi. This is a creature Eldrazi. There you go. Again, from another secret lair. Same one that the Get Rog monster came from. So this is just a nice bonus card to get in that set. So when Mana Reshaper dies, reveal the top card of your library. You may put that card onto the battlefield if it's a permanent card with mana value 3 or less. Otherwise, put that card into your hand. So usually we're just putting the card into our hand. We don't have a ton of things that are 3 or less in the deck, though it does happen occasionally. So Mystic Forge from the Fallout set. 4 mana. Obviously, I think a lot of people know Mystic Forge as like a combo piece, which obviously I got a couple of combo pieces in this deck. This is one of them. So you may look at the top card of your library anytime. Pretty useful. You may cast artifact spells and colorless spells from the top of your library. It's pretty cool. Tap this, pay 1 life, exile the top card of your library. Not bad. So primarily this is like something to do with what's it called? I have it here. Yeah. Sensei's Divining Top, just an infinite loop, infinite card draw with that. So it's nice to have. Sanctum of Ugin. Up. There you go. Pay 1, tap this for colorless mana. Whenever you cast a color spell with converted mana cost 7 or greater, you may sacrifice this. If you do, search your library for a colorless creature card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. So, not bad. Just colorless tutoring. There you go. Sensei's Divining Top. Obviously, the other part of the 2-card combo that lets you draw your deck infinitely. So, it's 1 cost artifact. Pay 1, look at the top part of your library, then put them back in any order. Tap this, draw a card, then put this at the top of its owner's library. There you go. Immortal Sun. Massive card draw. Planeswalker Hate. So 6 cost artifact, legendary artifact. Players can't cast or can't activate Planeswalker's loyalties abilities. At the beginning of your draw step, draw an additional card. Spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Creatures you control get a 1/1. So this is kind of just hitting the gambit all over the place. It's letting you draw. It's, you know, reducing the cost of everything. And then it's also buffing your board passively. And also, you know, it's not letting people play with Planeswalker, which in this deck we play with a lot of Planeswalkers, but, you know, we're not worried about that. Because we have so many other things we can be doing. We don't need the Planeswalkers necessarily. So the One Ring, probably one of the most modern cards of like current debate. One of the biggest issues currently in Magic, especially in like modern standard, that kind of stuff. So the One Ring is a 4 mana artifact, indestructible. When this enters the battlefield, if you cast it, you gain protection from everything until your next turn. It's pretty cool. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may lose 1 life for each bird encounter on the One Ring. So that's not bad. That's not a bad price to pay. It does stack up exponentially, so it does. You start to feel it after the 3rd or 4th time you use it. So tap this, put a bird encounter on the One Ring, then draw a card for each bird encounter on the One Ring. So that's kind of the thing. Like if you start getting lost in the sauce, you end up drawing 4 cards and losing 4 life at the what is it, at the beginning of each upkeep? Yeah, or whenever you tap this. So understandably, a very strong card engine. Probably one of the best ones we've seen in a very long time. And I don't think it's going anywhere, honestly. It's still good. War Room is our last one. As you can see, classic card draw on land, pass for colorless. Pay 3, tap this. Pay life equal to the number of colors in your commander color identity. For us, it's 2, but normally, if this was an Kozilek deck, it'd be 0, but since we're playing Avacyn, who is 2 colors, this does 2 damage to us. And then we draw a card, so not bad. It's kind of expensive draw, but, you know, reliable draw at the very end. Next one is, I believe, yeah, is a ramp. So our ramp is about 17, I believe, as well. Only because we have so many big spells that it does get kind of out of hand. A lot of the early, like the first like 5 turns is praying and drawing and ramping until you get to 5, until you get to your 5th turn, which hopefully by your 5th turn you have like 10 or 12 mana, sources of mana to start playing your Eldrazi's and start spamming the board with big bodies. That's kind of the goal of the deck, is to survive until like turn 5 and then win the game, essentially, or present a board that is so big that it can't be dealt with. This is Aether Vial. Takes a second to read it. There you go, Aether Vial. Oh man, can we actually see it? If you didn't know, these cards that were done in this secret layer were done with like a tarot card aesthetic to them. I like it a lot. I think it looks good. It's an artifact. Thankfully it's easy to read. I just wish it was a little bit bigger. But at the beginning of your upkeep, you may put a charge counter on this. Tap. You may put a charge counter with mana value. Okay, you may put a creature card with mana value equal to the number of charge counters on this from your hand onto the battlefield. So very, very, very slow ramp. It is. I have it in the deck because I like the art of the card, not necessarily because it's gonna go crazy with counters. But yeah, it's a 1 mana. It's a 1 mana artifact. It doesn't hurt to have in the deck. Even if it's just to get your mana count up or your artifact count up, it does its job. So next one, Balin's Tomb, which is I believe Ancient Tomb. Yeah. Lord of the Rings set? No, I don't think so. Maybe? Oh, Moria. Yeah, this is I was just reading that. Balin, son of Ruin, Lord of Moria. Yeah. I would say that's pretty Lord of the Rings if I had to say so myself. But Ancient Tomb. Tap this, add 2 colorless. This deals 2 damage to you. Powerful, good old classic card. Basalt Monolith. Really old, ugly card I own. Also another infinite combo piece with a Rings of Bright Hearth, I believe, in the deck. So it's a 3 mana. Tap, add 3 colorless mana to your mana pool. Does not untap as normal during your untap phase. You may spend 3 mana at any other time to untap. Drawing mana from this artifact is played as an interrupt. So a lot of extra words for basically tap this, it doesn't untap. Pay 3 to untap it. But yeah, super old, super nasty looking card. Probably one of the first cards I bought for the deck. Liquid Metal Torque. Here's a funny card. I like this one a lot because it turns stuff into artifacts. And that's always fun. And it's a 2 mana rock, which is always helpful in this deck. Target non-land permanent becomes an artifact in addition to its other types until the end of turn. Do like it. I'm trying to remember why I had it in here. Other than being a mana rock, I don't exactly remember why it's in here. But usually the reason why I have this in here is usually for removal most of the time. Because I turn something into an artifact and then I remove it with an artifact removal spell. That's normally the reason why I have it in here, but I'm sure there's another reason why it's still in here. I just need to like put it back into my brain what exactly is happening. Mana Vault. I know this wasn't here last time. This is a recent addition to the deck. I managed to get this card before the price jumped on it. I got lucky because I bought this before the bans and it was like 60 bucks. Looking at the price now, oh mama, I got lucky. I'll say I'm very, very fortunate. So Mana Vault is a 1 mana artifact. Oh man, Mana Vault does not untap during your untap phase. If it remains tapped during your upkeep, Mana Vault deals 1 damage to you. That's not bad. Pay for untap Mana Vault. Use this ability only during your upkeep. and then you can tap it, add 3 mana, add 3 colorless mana to your mana pool, play these, what does that say? Play these additions as an interrupt. Okay, weird way of wording that, but it's yielding magic grammar. But yeah, it's essentially like a Basalt Monolith, but a lot better. Another new card that, I don't know. I added these raceways to the deck. I think they're gonna work fine, but time's only gonna tell. Muruganda Raceway. Start your engines, add 1 colorless, max speed, tap, add 2. So max speed, I believe you start like when you play a speed card, you get one counter and you need 3 counters to get max speed. To get max speed, I believe your opponent has to be dealt damage while it's their turn. Something like that. I don't exactly remember the ruling. And of course, it doesn't say what exactly it does. But yeah, this is just basically like a better version of Ancient Tomb. So because it doesn't enter untapped and it can tap for mana immediately. So on the off chance you ever get max speed, you get extra mana, but most of the time it's just a colorless land for you to play with. Oblivion Sower, 6 mana spell. Well, this is actually a 6 mana creature, Eldrazi. You can never get to look at him. There he is, in all his glory. So whenever you cast Oblivion Sower, target opponent exiles the top 4 cards of his or her library. Then you may play you play any number of land cards that player owns from exile onto the battlefield under your control. So you can exile the top 4, and then depending on what their exile pile looks like, you can play lands from there. Pretty like soft ramping, but it can ramp you. Ornithopter of Paradise. This is primarily just because I needed a low-cost body to play on turn like 1 or 2, and Ornithopter of Paradise just happened to fit the bill. So it's a 2 mana artifact creature, Thopter, flying, tap, add 1 mana of any color. So this is 90% of the time just a mana tapper, but if I get this out early, I can give it some counters, put an equipment on it, and then start swinging for early aggression. Quicksilver Amulet. Thankfully, this has been reprinted a bunch of times, so it's not as expensive as it used to be. 4 mana artifact. Pay 4, tap this. You may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. So obviously, paying 4 mana for basically whatever you have on your hand, always a go-to. Here's something you're probably used to seeing. Soul Ring. Soul Ring and the nice bubbly foil is a 1 mana artifact that taps for 2 colorless. So probably another big problem card in Magic's format. Soul Ring. Very similar to the One Ring, it's just never going to be dealt with. And then here's a card that I added to the deck because it just looks so good. Because this came from the Secret Lair that had the Soul Ring and Swift Foot Boots. So I love the art so much that I'm like, you know what? I can sacrifice a good slot for Solemn. There we go. Come on. Let's look at the card. Show me the card. Please. There you go. That's good enough. Yeah, Solemn Sickle. Okay. Solemn Simulacrum. There we go. 4 mana artifact creature golem. When this enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land card, put that onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. When this dies, you may draw a card. So it's a slow ramp card draw. The 2/2 for 4. Okay stats, but primarily it's the art that I'm here for. Next one, Sword and Feast of Famine. Classic. 3 mana artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets a 2/2 and has protection from black and from green. Not bad. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, that player discards a card from... Okay, that player discards a card and you untap all lands you control. And then equips for 2. So this is normally just to untap all your lands. So like a Seaborn Muse, have extra mana to play with after your combat phase. Here's the next one, Sword of the Amethyst. There you go. It's from that tarot card Secret Lair. And it is a 2 mana legendary artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets a 1/1 or gets 1/1. Whenever equipped creature attacks, you may search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Equipment for 2. So another form of just, you know, aggressive ramp. Like I said earlier, if you play Ornithopter Paradise early, you can equip this to it and then start searching, start swinging, get some damage in, get some ramping in. Thought Vessel, another beautiful card to add into the list. It is a 2-mana artifact. You have no maximum hand size, which is pretty good because you want to keep a fistful of cards at all times. And then tap, add colorless. So again, just another beautiful piece of art for the list. Last one for the ramp is Urza Saga, or Urza's Incubator. One of like the 10 Urza cards we have. Well, more like one of the 5 or 6 Urza cards we have in the deck. So it's a 3-mana artifact. This enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. We're going to choose Eldrazi. Creature spells of the chosen type cost 2 less to cast. Everything counts when, you know, when you're casting Eldrazi's, every bit counts. Now the next one's going to be probably our biggest, one of our biggest ones, biggest categories. Yeah, there we go. 27. This is the main strategy. This is all the good stuff in the deck before we go into the lands. So, Mamma Mia, there's gonna be a lot of stuff to look at here. A lot of pretty fancy cards that I'm very happy to have. Akroma's Memorial, 7-mana legendary artifact. Creatures you control have flying, first strike, vigilance, trample, haste, protection from black, and protection from red. So obviously, all those keywords are stuff that we want our creatures to have. 7 mana is not the end of the world. Blightsteel Colossus, another great one. It is. Awesome showcase. Love the showcase for this one. It is a 12-mana artifact creature. Trample, infect, indestructible. If this would be put into the graveyard from anywhere, reveal this and shuffle it into its owner's library instead. So it's a graveyard. Oh, it shuffles itself out of the graveyard, so you can never be decked out. It has trample, lifelink, and indestructible. This thing is a menace that has to be dealt with relatively quick. Now, here's our first Bruna, or here's one of our angels. Bruna the Fading Light, 7-mana, legendary creature, Angel Horror. And then it says, whenever you cast the spell, you may return target angel or human creature card. Bring your graveyard to the battlefield. It has flying and vigilance. We'll put this to the side so we can show you what the meld looks like. Dark Depths is our next one. There we go. This is here because it's a land, but it doesn't do anything as a land. It basically acts as like a really bad enchantment that you have to remove counters from. So it's a legendary snow land. This enters the battlefield with 10 ice counters on it. Pay 3, remove an ice counter from Dark Depths. When this has no ice counters on it, sacrifice it. If you do, create a Murray's Lodge, legendary 2020 black avatar creature token with flying and indestructible. So as I talked about earlier, this is basically for this. So there's the token for the land. As you can see, they actually did a pretty good job interpreting what the creature was going to look like. So very cool. Eldrazi Construct, or Corruption. Conscription. Got there at the end. This is a tough one to read. So it's an 8-mana tribal enchantment, Eldrazi Aura. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets a 10/10 and has trample and Annihilator 2. Thankfully, they didn't put a ton of words on this one, but this is like a really sick art style. I do like it. It has like a poster feel, poster-esque. I love the way they did everything where they put the mana symbol up there on the top right. It reads very well. It does still read as a magic card or as a playing card without like getting lost in the sauce too much. Where speaking of which, here's a card that definitely gets lost in the sauce. Is Emrakul, the Promise End, for 13 mana. It has flying, trample, protection from instants, so very nice. It's a 13/13 legendary creature Eldrazi. Okay, this spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature type among cards in your graveyard, so most of the time you can pay like 10, 11 for this. Okay, when you cast this spell, you gain control of target opponents during that player's next turn. After that turn, that player takes an extra turn. So essentially, when you play this, you take your opponent's turn when it's their turn, and then after you take their turn, then they take their actual turn. So no, wait, I believe that's how it works. Let's see. After that turn, that player takes an extra turn. Yeah, okay, yeah. So it isn't as bad. Well, it's bad. It's bad because as soon as I take my opponent's turn, I waste everything in their hand. It's a very feel bad card, but I do love this Emrakul. It's a very funny end game card to play. A lot of times it just ends up breaking their back because as soon as they take their turn again, it's like, oh god, I can't do anything. So it's essentially like a 3-turn spell. It's nice. Emrakul, The World Awakens, one of the newer Eldrazi's. One of the new variants of Emrakul. Unfortunately, not the banned one. So this is a 12 mana Eldrazi legendary creature. When you cast this spell, gain control of all creature target player controls. Pretty good. Flying, protection from spells and from permanents that were cast this turn. When Emrakul, The World Awakens, leaves the battlefield, sacrifice all creatures you control. Madness, pay 6 life. So you can pay the madness cost if you discard this. You pay 6. 6, not 6 life, 6 colorless. So this is pretty easy to cheat if you want to do the madness costs. Otherwise, you can just hard cast this, which is normally what I do. And then gain control of your opponent's stuff. Then it gets sacrificed at the end of turn. And then it has protection from a bunch of stuff. So not the strongest version of Emrakul, but not bad. I just wanted more Eldrazi's. Next one, Flare of Loyalty, I believe. Yeah, Flare of Loyalty, 8, 9, 10, 10 mana, Eldrazi creature. It's 10/10. When you cast this spell, gain control of target creature until the end of turn. Untap that creature. Until the end of turn, it has the base power and toughness 10/10, and gains Trample and Annihilator 2 and Haste. Trample and Annihilator 2. So essentially, this will take an opponent's creature and then turn it into basically another Flare of Loyalty. And the nice thing is that you can actually, it doesn't say target opponents. So if your opponent doesn't have like a worthwhile creature, you can just take control of one of your creatures, and then that becomes another Eldrazi, essentially, with Annihilator and Trample. So not bad. I do like it. Forsaken Monument. I think this card's very underrated. I don't think enough people play it. But then again, like it's an Eldrazi. I can understand why. Forsaken Monument is a 5 mana legendary artifact. Colorless creatures you control get 2/2, so everything's getting a buff essentially. Whenever you tap a permanent for colorless, add an additional colorless, so this is doubling our mana. And then whenever you cast a colorless spell, you gain 2 life. Just a nice little bonus. Cherry on top. Here it is. Lissa the Broken Blade. This was previously the commander I was using before I switched out Kozilek. However, I didn't want the 2 angels as my commanders, so as I said earlier, I got Avacyn to take place. So Lissa is a legendary creature horror angel, flying first life lifelink. At the beginning of your end step, if you both own and control Glissa the Broken Blade and a creature named Bruna the Fallen Light, exile them and then meld them into Priscilla, Voice of Nightmares. So this one is also cool. I love the art of this one as well. But since I have the other card, I usually use that as my Priscilla. But here is the original Priscilla. This is the secret layer Priscilla, and then the original Priscilla, which I have more of a fondness for. For me, this is like just a cooler looking card, the original. But that's both of them together. That's what they both look like. I love these cards. They're so silly. But yeah. Originally, yeah, like I said earlier, originally these were the commanders, or Gisela was the commander, and I just focused a little too hard. Like I had tunnel vision trying to look for Bruna, and it's kind of like I don't want to do that anymore. So these two are just in the 99. If I get them, I get them, but I could also tutor for them if I want to. Hit That Betrays is our next one. This is a Kev Walker special. I don't know much about Kev Walker, but I know he was given his own secret lair. I believe he's one of the classic artists of Wizards. It is a 12/12 Eldrazi creature with Annihilator 2. If we can ever come back into focus, thank you. So whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-token permanent, put that card onto the battlefield under your control. So basically, if your opponent plays black or like some kind of like aristocrats strategy, nope. Because everything they do, you just get back for yourself. Really nice. It That Heralds the End is another Eldrazi, 2 mana 2/2 Eldrazi drone. Color spells you cast with mana value 7 or greater cost 1 less to cast. That's nice. And then other colorless creatures you control gain 1/1. So cost reducer, Anthem. This is a good card for 2 mana. Holy cow. Uncommon, I believe. Super good card. I believe it was in a starter deck, so that doesn't matter too much. Kozilek, Butcher of Truth. And one of his showcase. Oh man, this card looks so sick. I always forget how good some of these cards are. A little bit of backstory. I don't get to play this deck a lot. Surprise, not a lot of people like playing against this deck. It's a little too mean, it's a little too sweaty to play. Obviously I can't be left alone to my own devices. If I'm left alone with my artifacts, then I will just explode on turn 5. But yeah, I do love this deck. I just don't get to play it nearly enough. Also, it's a really expensive deck. So this deck really doesn't leave my side ever. Like, very rarely leaves the house. I will say that much. But yeah, Kozilek, Butcher of Truth is a 10 mana Eldrazi legendary creature. When you cast this spell, draw 4 cards. It has Annihilator 4. When this is put into the graveyard from anywhere, its owner shuffles their graveyard into their library. So again, another card that will never let you get milled out. And it's just a big Annihilator that draws 4 cards. Great card. Easily can be one of the commanders of the deck. Speaking of which, Kozilek, Broken Reality. The newer Eldrazi, newer Kozilek version. Looks awesome. Honestly, I love this style that they did. Like, I love the symmetry of this card. This is such a sick looking card, man. They did him they did him justice with this one. He doesn't look like a gross spaghetti monster, but I mean, that's a cool looking spaghetti monster. Here he looks a lot more focused, you know. He's locked in for sure. It's a 9 mana Eldrazi. When you cast this spell, up to 2 target players each manifests 2 cards from their hand. For each card manifested this way, you draw a card. So you get to draw 2, 4, 6. So 6 cards roughly. And then it says other colorless creatures you control get a 3/2. I don't know why it has to be specifically 3/2, but you know, it is. It's a 9/9. I just wanted another version of the Eldrazi's in here, another Titan. He was the original commander, Kozilek the Great Distortion. This was done by Chris Rowan, I believe. Rowan? Yeah, Rohan, I believe. There it is. Another legendary wizard artist, magic artist. It's a 10 mana Eldrazi legendary creature. When you cast a spell, if you have fewer than 7 cards in your hand, draw cards equal to the difference. Menace. Discard a card with mana value X. Counter target spell with mana value X. So this is what the deck was originally built around, was that secondary effect. Discard a card and then counter someone else's card. Basically, it turned everything in your hand into a what is it called? Fierce Guardship, essentially. And for like 10 mana, this was so worth it. This was like such a menace, man. Love that card. I might switch back to that, honestly. That's why this deck has stayed colorless, because I love Kozilek so much as a commander. I just want to play with different cards. Like, I want to play with my Eldrazi Angels as well. So that's the only reason why I switched over to a different color. But man, I still love that commander. I still love that Eldrazi. Reality Smasher is a 5 mana Eldrazi creature with trample and haste. There it is. There it is. And then whenever this becomes the target of a spell an opponent controls, counter that spell unless its controller discards a card. So I don't know how strong this is, because all you have to do is discard a card. Depending on the opponent, they're probably going to do that. So not bad. It can eat up a spell. Rings of Bright Hearth is another one of our combo spells. There we go. 3 mana artifact. Whenever you activate an ability, if it isn't the mana value ability, you may pay 2. If you do copy that ability, you may choose a new target for that copy. I would have to look up the spell table or spell book combos, but I know there's combos with Mystic Forge and Assault Monolith, I want to say. But yeah, let me look at the combos because I know I can pull them up somewhat quickly, I believe. Where are them? Let's see. How do I get to, yeah, there it is, Commander Spellbook. So yeah, it Assault Monolith and Forsaken Monument. That one, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, here is Ring of Braehearth and Assault Monolith. Activate the Monolith. And then, yep, pay for 3. Ring of Braehearth triggers, causing you to pay 2 to copy that ability. Resolve the copy. I'm tapping it. Okay. And then here's the Basalt Monolith, Ring Braehearth, Sensei Divining Top. The infinite card draw, infinite colorless mana, near infinite storm count. Man, there's a lot of combos in this deck. Holy moly. I didn't realize. Alright. Shadow Spear. Well, hold on. Oh. Shadow Spear. Hello. For 1, legendary equipment. It is a equipped creature, gets a 1/1 and it has trample and lifelink. Pretty good, but not what we're looking for because it has a pay 1. Permits your opponent control lose hexproof and indestructible until the end of turn. Equipment 2. So primarily that's the thing we're looking for. We're looking to get rid of hexproof and indestructible on our opponent's side. The lifelink and trample is just a nice bonus. Low cost stuff. Not bad. Sire of 7 Deaths is one of the newer ones. I believe this is in Modern Horizons 3, I want to say. This is our French vanilla with the word soup. So it's a 7 mana 7/7 with first strike, vigilance, menace, trample, reach, lifelink, ward, pay 7 life. So a lot of 7s, a whole lot of 7s. Lucky number 7 Eldrazi here, unfortunately. Probably the last thing you want to see. Not necessarily lucky to see. Thought Not Seer. Super cool looking card. Extremely wicked looking. 4 mana Eldrazi. Enters the battlefield, target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it and exile that card. When this leaves the battlefield, target opponent draws a card. So it's okay. It's a hand disruption, but it does in return let your opponent draw a card when it dies. But obviously you're looking at your opponent's hand, you're getting rid of counter spells, so at that point it doesn't matter what they do. Oh no. One of something from the new Tarkir set. Ugin, oh come on, show it. Ugin Eye of the Storm. Holy moly. New Ugin PogChamp. And what a sick card, man. Holy cow. Holy moly, honestly. I'm glad I got this. It is a 7 mana, 7 loyalty. Ugin. When you cast the spell, exile up to 1 target permanent. That's 1 or more colors. Very easy for us. Whenever you cast a colorless spell, exile up to 1 target permanent. That's 1 or more colors. Very easy for us. Oh, this is such a strong card. Oh my god. Even like that little text box, just that little bit right there could have been a planeswalker on its own. But no, they had to add more gas to it. Okay, +2. You gain 3 life and draw a card. Really good. 0, add 3 colorless mana. -11. Search your library for any number of colorless non-land cards, exile them, then shuffle. Until the end of your turn, you may cast those cards without paying their mana cost. Oh, mama. -11 though, starting at 7, getting to -11. Not the hardest thing, but the thing is, nobody's gonna let this sit on the field. I have yet to play this card, but oh man, this card is so strong. Holy moly. Literally, you could take any one of these lines as a text and put it on a planeswalker, and that planeswalker would be a game changer. I can definitely foresee this card being on the game changers, if not banned, at some point. Hello? There we go. This card is such a menace, man. I love this card. It's so stupidly strong. Man, what a cool card. I'm so glad I got it. And then, speaking of which, we have another Ugin. Ugin the Ineffable. Or, I believe this one's called Ugin the Virgin. I believe that's the fan name. There we go. Super cool one. This is actually one that you can get from your LGSs. Magic. Yes. Welcome back, Boogie. Yeah, we're looking actually. Oh my goodness. I don't know. Did you just see this one? Holy moly. I don't know if you're a Magic man, but I love Magic. It's my second favorite card game other than One Piece. But yeah, Ugin Ineffable, 6 mana Planeswalker. It has color spells you cast, cost 2 less to cast. Pay 1, exile the top card of your library face down and look at it. Create a 2/2 colorless creature spirit token. When that token leaves the battlefield, put that exile card into your hand. So it's card draw essentially. -3, destroy target permanent that's 1 or more colors. So starts with 4 loyalty, gets a lot of extra stuff. I dropped to see how I must leave. Okay. Thank you, Boogie. Thank you for your words of wisdom earlier as well. Unfortunately, I had to block the word because I don't think I'm gonna let Schlong, you know, pass by. But yeah, take care of yourself, Boogie. I will see you next time. But yeah, our next one is Ulamog. This is one of the cereal card, literally the cereal box art. And then all the words are actually back here. Oh god, I don't know how I feel about this one. This one I'm a little on the fence. I think it's silly. It's a little silly, a little whimsical to have like these, you know, big scary creatures as, you know, funny illustrations. So Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger. Let's see, where are the actual words? When you cast a spell, exile 2 target permanents indestructible. Whenever Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger, attacks, defending player exiles the top 20 cards of their library. There we go. There's your text box. That is all you get. It's so funny. Let me see what the front says. I don't think the front says anything. Yeah, it's just Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger, devour a flavor. There's your Ulamogos. 10/10. Very funny card. Put that back. Speaking of which, another Ulamog, the Defiler. This is another one that has really cool art, and I believe this one was like meta relevant for a while. I don't know if it still is, but legendary creature Eldrazi. For 10 mana, you get a 7/7. So when you cast the spell, target opponent exiles half of their library rounded up. Ward, sacrifice 2 permanents. Ulamog the Defiler enters the battlefield with a number of 1/1 counters on it equal to the greatest mana value among cards in exile. And then Ulamog has Annihilator X, where X is the number of 1/1 counters on it. So that explains a lot. So basically, you exile half of your opponent's library when you cast it. Then basically, whatever is the biggest mana value of the exile pile, this gets 1/1s, and then it gets Annihilator X, which means like whenever it attacks, your opponent has to sacrifice X amount of things on the board to it. So yeah, it's a very nasty card. And then our next Ulamog, the Infinite Gyre, 11 mana creature. It is a whenever you cast a spell, destroy target permanent, indestructible, Annihilator 4. When this is put into the graveyard from anywhere, its owner shuffles their graveyard into the library. So another shuffler, so shuffles your graveyard, can't get decked out. Annihilator 4, very good. Indestructible, crazy. And then destroys a target permanent when you cast it. It's like, come on. These cards are getting silly. We're almost done. So, Unwinding Clock. There we go. So it's a 4 mana artifact. Untap all artifacts you control during each player's upkeep. There it is. This is why I have Liquid Metal Torque. Liquid Metal Torque turns a target creature into an artifact, which is when Unwinding Clock activates. Unwinding Clock untaps all artifacts, which then it would untap an Eldrazi. That's why I did it. Now it all makes sense because of this dumb card. So the next one is Walking Ballista. Now this one I was never going to pass up on. This is the Secret Lair that did like showcase arts of different sets. Walking Ballista being probably the most interesting one in that whole set. And my goodness, another combo piece, of course. With infinite mana, you can pay X infinitely. So it's an artifact creature XX. When Walking Ballista enters the battlefield with X +1/+1/+1 counters on it, pay 4, put a 1/+1 counter on this. Remove a 1/+1 counter from Walking Ballista. It deals 1 damage to any target. So there you go. With infinite mana, you can pump infinite number of counters onto Walking Ballista, and then just remove them all and just blow up everything. Blow up all your opponents. So yeah, it's one of our outlets, one of our win cons, and such a beautiful foil. God, they did such a good job with the, I forgot what the set was. Not Amonkhet. What was it? It's the one where Ravnica? Was it Ravnica? It might be Ravnica. I don't remember exactly. Next ones are, these are the generic lands. These are just like utility lands and basic lands that we have in the deck. Speaking of which, I will put the basics to the side, and then we will look at just the generic lands that we have that we can just play and not worry about. Amonkhet Raceway is one of our speed lands from Aether Drift. Really good. Honestly, I can see this getting more play in the future. So it has start your engines. When you play it, you go up 1 speed, and then, you know, once you get to 3 speed, you get max speed. So tap, add 1 colorless, max speed, tap this, target creature gains haste until the end of turn. That's pretty good. So this becomes like a bandit hall, I believe. What's it called? It's in here. Hall of the Bandit. This essentially becomes a Hall of the Bandit once you reach your max speed. So really good card. Ash Barons. This doesn't necessarily need to be here, but I have it in here because it's the special secret layer art. Taps are colorless. You can basic land cycle it. So you pay 1, discard this card, search for a basic, I believe. I've never had to use Ash Barons. I usually just play it as a utility land. Buried Ruin. Good old classic Magic card. So taps for colorless, pay 2, tap this, sacrifice this, return target artifact from your graveyard to your hand. Not bad. Commander Beacon. Crazy looking art. And it has tap this, add colorless, sacrifice this, put your commander into your hand from the command zone. So obviously, if your commander gets blown up and you don't want to pay the tax, you just put it back in your hand, and you get to evade the tax for 1 turn, or at least until it gets destroyed again. Eldrazi Temple is our next one. It has tap, add colorless, and then you can tap this, add 2 colorless, spend this mana only to cast colorless Eldrazi spells or activate abilities of colorless Eldrazi's. Not hard at all for us to accomplish here. Hall of the Bandit Lord is our next one. Another secret layer card, done in the Neon Dynasty style. So Hall of the Bandit Lord, legendary land. This enters the battlefield tapped. Tap this, pay 3 life, add colorless. If that mana is spent to cast a creature spell, it gains haste. So another way to gain haste, though you have to pay life. Homeward Path, really good when your opponent tries to steal your stuff. Tap this, add 1 generic to your mana pool, each player, and then you can also tap this. Each player gains control of all creatures he or she owns. So this is just a great way to steal back your stuff if it gets stolen for any reason. Paths of the Dead, Cavern of Souls, another great card. Choose a creature type, Eldrazi, tap this for colorless, or we can tap this, add 1 mana of any color, spend this mana only to cast creature spells of the chosen type, and that spell can't be countered. So it turns your things into counterless cast. Plaza of Heroes, another land. Tap this for colorless. You can tap it for any color of mana. Spend this only to cast legendary spells. And then it has another one, add 1 mana of any color among legendary permanents you control. And then the one we actually care about is pay 3, tap this, exile this, target legendary creature gains hexproof and indestructible until the end of turn. So it's great. Essentially 4 mana, protect anything on the board. And then it taps for colorless, or you can tap for color if you really need it to. Reliquary Tower. This is another one of those cards that came from an LGS during one of their special events. Like I think it was like Magic Day in your LGS, and your LGS will give these out if you participated in a Magic event. So this is a, you have no maximum hand size, tap this for colorless. So pretty good. Again, for this deck, you want to have a fistful of cards in hand. You want to constantly be drawing and not discarding. Rogue's Passage. Good old classic, unblockable. Rogue's Passage is a colorless land that taps for colorless. Pay 4, tap this. Target creature can't be blocked this turn. Easy overrun. Kill someone almost immediately with that. Sanctum, I mean, that is essentially a win con. Don't diss that one, you know. Don't overlook the Rogue's Passage. It will completely bother you if you don't respect it. Sanctum of Eternity. There we go. Tap this for colorless. Pay 2, tap this. Return target commander you own from the battlefield to your hand. Activate this ability only during your turn. So, if your opponent tries to remove your thing, you can pay 2, tap this, and then pull it back to your hand so that you don't have to worry about commander attacks again. So not bad. If you know your commander is going to get removed, you just pull it back. No harm, no foul. The Mycosynth Garden. There we go. Actually, give you a second to look at it. I believe that's the Phyrexian All will be 1 set. Tap this for colorless, pay 1, tap this, add 1 mana of any color. We're never doing that. X, tap this. This becomes a copy of target non-token artifact you control with mana value X. So if you want to copy any of your artifacts, you can. You just have to pay X, and then this becomes a copy of another artifact in your deck. It could be another Basalt Monolith. It could be like another Rings of Brighthearth. It could be another Sensei Divining Top, though probably not. It could be a number of things in the deck. Even if also this works with wow, what's the name of that stupid mana rock we were just talking about? Where are you, dummy? Liquid Metal Torque. So with Liquid Metal Torque, you can tap Liquid Metal Torque, turn something into an artifact, and then pay the mana, turn this into a copy of your Eldrazi's, and that's pretty fun. Thespian Sage. This is basically going to combo with your Dark Depths. However, this is the Miku Secret Layer one. Miku, yeah. This is tap, add colorless, pay 2, tap this. This becomes a copy of target land, except it has this ability. So essentially, you target what was the name? Dark Depths. You target Dark Depths. This enters the battlefield, but without the counters. And then you sacrifice the copy. You make the legendary creature with it. So Ugin's Labyrinth, a newer Eldrazi spell, basically. Imprint. Whenever this enters the battlefield, you may exile a colorless card with mana value 7 or greater from your hand. Tap this, add colorless. If the card is exiled with Ugin's Labyrinth, add 2 instead. Tap this, return exile card to its owner's hand. So basically, you exile something big from your hand. This will tap for 2 colorless, but at any point in your, later on in the turn, you can then return it to your hand. So you're never really left without a card. You can always bring the card back to your hand as long as this stays on the field. Urza's Cave. Up. Come on. Land, Urza Cave. Tap this for colorless, pay 3, sacrifice this. Search your library for a land card, put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Search your library for a land card. Oh wow. So this just straight up just searches for a land. Yeah, that's sick. Also, this pays into the Urza lands. So obviously, since this is another Urza land, this plays into the whole which one is it? No, Urza's Workshop. This plays into Urza's Workshop, which is what we like. Oh, speaking of which, hang on. Can I find that Karin that we looked at earlier? I may not be able to. Where did that Karin go? I should have put him to the side. Where are you, stupid? Hold on. Yeah, there he is. Okay, perfect. Now I can make the panoramic image. So, Urza Mine. Urza Mine is a colorless land, tap for colorless. And then, hold on, I'll let you look at the art first. Come on. There we go. That's what it looks like. So if you control an Urza power plant and an Urza tower, this taps for 2 instead. And then our next one is Urza's power plant, taps for colorless, and then it has basically the same text, where if you control the other 2 lands, it can tap for 2. Here's Urza's Saga, but we're not worried about Urza's Saga yet. Urza's Workshop, or Urza's Tower. There's the art. And then this taps for colorless, does the same thing. Actually, no. If you control Urza's Mine and Urza Power Plant, this taps for 3 instead. And then, of course, the cool thing about this is, let me see if I can figure out the panorama image. Because I believe... How do these go together? Alright, hold on. I know these 3 can go together. I'm just trying to figure out how do these cards sit together. I will figure it out. I think that's right. So from there, is it here? No, maybe not. Where do you sit? Sorry, I'm preoccupied now. Trying to figure out how these cards sit together. I think like that. Yeah, like that. Is it like this? No, this doesn't look right. Oh yeah, there we go, like that. And then it has to be this at the end. Yeah, there we go. Now I see it. All right, hopefully you can see that. You can see the whole panorama image of the Urza lands and then Karin. If you didn't know, Urza made Karin. And then these are all his plants. As you can tell, the plains he was on, he just stripped bare to make his power plants. And then he made Urza, or he made Karin, a sentient planeswalker golem, artifact golem. But yeah, this is cool. I love this. I love that all 4 of these cards all play into a part of each other. So yeah, there is the panorama. The main reason why you even want to buy those stupid cards. Now we can look at the other ones. So our next one is Urza Saga. As you can see, this is the sketch version of Urza Saga. So this has So first saga is this gains tap, add colorless. Second saga is this gains pay 2, tap this, create a 0/0 colorless construct artifact creature token with this creature gets a 1/1 for each artifact you control. Pretty good. We have a lot of artifacts in this deck. Actually, let's look at the count, because I know I have a lot. I just don't know the exact number of artifacts. We have 27 artifacts. So I would say that's a pretty respectable number for a colorless deck. And then the final saga is search your library for an artifact card with mana value 0 or 1, put it into your battlefield, then shuffle. I believe that is primarily that's Soul Ring. So usually if you don't have your Soul Ring, you can use your Urza Saga to pull out your Soul Ring and then tap for colorless, or make a colorless artifact creature token. Next one, Urza's Workshop. Very fancy, very futuristic looking. You can see him down there in the bottom. So this has tap, add colorless, and then it has Metalcraft. Add colorless for each Urza land you control, activate only if you control 3 or more Urza artifacts. So as you can tell, we have a lot of Urza cards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Urza's Workshop can tap for like 5 mana. It's insane how many Urza lands exist in the game now. Vtuber is if we want to make a copy of another Urza land, or a copy of another land like Murray's Wall or Dark Depths. But I wouldn't recommend doing it with this one. As this comes into play, you may choose a land in play. If you do, this comes into play tapped as a copy of the chosen land. So as this enters the battlefield, it comes in as a copy, which I believe it means it comes in with all the counters of Dark Depths. So don't choose Dark Depths, but you can choose like Urza's Workshop or Urza's Cave, or Ancient Tomb. You can also choose, whatever land you have, you can make a copy. You can turn into this. This can turn into a copy of whatever land you have available to you. And then our last cards is our 5 basics. We have 2 separate arts because I couldn't decide which one I wanted more. So our first one is our first planes. This is the Dogland. I have the playmat, as you saw, have you seen in the past. This is the art. And then of course we have the heavy metal art version of the planes. Looks looks very cool. As you can tell, I had a hard time deciding, like, do I want all the dog planes or do I want all the, you know, the swords, the heavy metal ones. So I just did a you know, somewhat of a split. But yeah, that's everything. That's the whole deck. That is everything I have to show you. As you can tell, a lot of time and a lot of money has been pumped into this deck. It's just kind of the nature of the game, you know. When you played for as long as I have, you end up with a collection that is probably a little too vast. But yeah, I love this deck. I will continue to keep pumping time and money into this. It's my favorite deck. Unfortunately, I don't get to play it very often, but I do enjoy playing it when I do get the chance to play it. It's always against high level decks. Usually I tell my friends, like, okay, this is like a CDH deck. So if you want to go up against it, I would recommend your CDH decks or your strongest decks. And then let's see, you know, how it handles. And like, I have lost with this deck, but I have not lost a lot with this deck. Usually I can, if I can get to turn 5, that's usually when I can normally win. It's just like, you just need a really good starting hand. You need a hand with like good ramp and good mana, good ramp and good card draw, which, as you saw, we have plenty in this deck. We have plenty of ways to ramp. We have plenty of ways to draw. We have more than enough lands to ramp us every turn, so we're never given a dead hand. And yeah, I mean, there's not much to this deck. Obviously, we have some of the strongest cards in the colorless card pool. When people say don't play colorless decks, this is the reason why, because usually this is what their decks look like. There's infinite combos everywhere, big mana creatures, ways to cheat them out, ways to draw cards. I like this deck a lot. Since switching over to Avacyn, I haven't noticed a big difference, but I mean, there is a difference. It doesn't feel exactly the same, but it's mostly the same deck. I just added 2 extra colors to the deck because I could, because I wanted to play with the Angel Horror Brusella without it being my commander. Because once Brusella is your commander, it's kind of like everybody knows what you're doing and it's very obvious what you're trying to aim for. And all it takes is one good counterspell and you're done for. Which is not the focus of this deck. I want this deck to be the focus of like big fuck you spells. That's basically the focus of this deck. It's basically, I brought a gun. I brought a gun to the commander game, and you all have to deal with it now. Or not even like a gun, like I brought a bazooka to this commander game. Good luck, everyone else. Hopefully your deck is as strong as mine. So usually that's kind of the sentiment that I give people for this deck, is like, yeah, this is gonna be the big FU deck. You know, it's gonna do whatever it can to win, and it's definitely not gonna hold back. But yeah, I mean, obviously every deck bricks, but this one doesn't tend to break very often. It's just like, it's just very mana dependent, very mana heavy. It requires a ton of mana. But yeah, thank you guys for watching for today. I appreciate you either watching live or you're watching the VOD later on. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for checking out my deck. Let me know what you think about it. It's definitely overkill. I will say that much. The deck is definitely overkill. Blinged out in ways that I really would not expect it to be blinged out, but you know, I'm quite happy. But yeah, let me know what you think about this deck. If there's any changes or improvements. Obviously, I've always got my eyes on colorless spells, so I'm always trying to stay relevant with colorless spells to an extent. Always trying to make improvements, trying to make changes. Brusella was just one of the newest additions to the deck. So let me know what your experience has been with Brusella, and I'll go ahead and leave you here. And until next time, I will catch you guys in the next one. It's a bit redundant. But yeah, anyways, all right, bye. Bye.